So Latin, as you all know, it's mortus, it's a dead language, and that's special because it doesn't change. It doesn't change. Already from Cicero's time, it doesn't change. So through all the centuries, up until the 19th century, people have written everything which was important in Latin, and this is so well. This is incredibly. You cannot imagine how incredibly huge and big this is. With one language. I repeat, just one language, not 6 or 5, one language. You have the whole cultural heritage of Europe, of Western Europe, at your feet. Literally, it's there. You can read anything, Petrarch, you can read Cicero, you can read Erasmus, you can read Leibniz, you can read Spinoza, you can read Plautus with Terentius, you can read anything.
Andale Sorbium scritta historica, minus nota sed.
Literally anything on every field, from history to arts to science to mathematics to just name it, anything you could think of, which is really special. You should not think lightly of this. Another thing which is special is that because it's dead, with one language you can go into the mind of somebody in the Middle Ages, somebody in 16th century, somebody in the old times, somebody in the 18th century. You can see how people change, how their mindset changes from time to time, from century to century. And that is really special. And then, what it does is that we use this metaphor. I don't know whether you like this metaphor. I like the metaphor very much. But Pantarei, you know Pantarei? Pantarei? Mm-hmm. Who said this? Pantarei, Heraclitus says this. And why did he say this? Do you remember why he said that? And why did Heraclitus say this? Do you remember?
Because everything changed.
And do you remember when he said this? When? Where was he when he said this?
Maybe at the river, near a river.
Exactly, near a river. Really good. And time is like a river. This is what he means. Everything which is bound to time, everything which is not eternal, changes by definition. We will all die. And all languages will change. Everything which is bound to this world, this time will change. And what I want to say is that Latin doesn't change. So we are here in this river of time. And we also change. We go with the river. And the river takes us along. And sometimes we don't really know where we're going or where we come from. And what's going on, what the hell? And the only way to really get a good sense of who we are, where we come from, and get an idea of what this is all about, life, is to get out of that river sometimes, not always, but sometimes. Get out of that river and walk up the hill and look at the river. And this hill is called Latin. With one language you can get out of you can vindicate yourself from time, literally. It's not something funny or some stupid metaphor. You can see how we live now, how people lived in the ancient times, how people lived in the Middle Ages, and you can compare everything. And you can maybe understand your own life better if you compare yours with theirs. And maybe understand what is bound to our time, what is prejudged, what is biased in our time, and what is maybe good in our time, or what was biased in their time, and what was good in our time. And you can compare this and think of a human condition in this way, and it's maybe the best instrument we have as human beings, the Latin language, and Greek, of course. But, of course, you have to go back into the river, because you cannot stay here on your hill. You have to get back and help people. It's like a painter. If you want to make a good painting, a good painter doesn't always stay like this and draw a rose and the details of the rose really closely all the time. Because in the end, the rose will look horrible. Okay? It's horrible. Because he's like this, he's in the rose. So sometimes you have to draw one thing and look at it, and then go back. And then step back in until you draw all the details. Well, okay, I'm horrible at drawing. Anyway, so okay, this is not a rose, it's something, it's a flower. Okay. So you need sometimes to step out of this time and look at it from a perspective, from a different perspective, from a different mind. And for this, Latin is maybe the best instrument we have in our culture. Anyways, this is what I wanted to say, and always think of reasons for for doing what we're doing now, because it might look like a stupid little thing, speaking Latin and blah blah blah, but I think it can change. It can not only change people, but it can change whole societies, and it has changed whole societies in the Renaissance and many times before us. Well, anyways, this is what I had to say. I hope you understood me, and I hope you agree a bit.